Today we're going to learn about the power rule for exponents. It's the only thing we're adding, but as you've seen, every time we add one little thing, it gets much more complicated. You are required to take notes, so if you don't have those materials out, pause the video and get them out now. The power rule for exponents says to raise a power to a power, you need to multiply the exponents. This is different than the product rule. The product rule was just if the bases were the same and you added them. This time you're basically putting an exponent over an exponent and then you multiply them. So let's look at an example. You have x to the fourth to the second. So you kind of distribute that. You put it in there and multiply those two, so you would get x to the eighth. Because what this is, if you think about it, it's this squared. And you know that squared is this times itself. So how many x's do you have? You count them up, and you have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Obviously, writing everything out, writing in expanded form is a definite way to see what's going on here. But knowing the rule and that you just multiply these will save you a lot of time. I encourage you, as you know, to write everything out to see what's going on until you really get the hang of it. Let's take a look at something else here. If there's more than one term, you need to distribute. You remember distributing, okay? So instead of it being like a 4 here and you get 4x, 4y, we're going to distribute this exponent, okay? Make this a little thinner. So you're going to go from 5 times 3 and 5 times 2. This is way easier than writing this out because you would have to write that 5 times. So picture it. If I wrote it again, oops, I'm sorry, it's only 2 y's. Now this is all being multiplied, so yeah, you can just come along and add them up. See, this is exactly why I make cursive y's, because I get sloppy. So you have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 of these, which is exactly what, and I wrote over this kind of big, 5 times 3 is. And then you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10y, which is exactly what that is. So if you look at the rules, you're going to have 3 times 5 and 2 times 5. We've got x to the 15. Oops, I didn't write down my y to the 10th. Okay, try example 2 on your own while I erase all of this mess. There's a little trick to number 2. Now remember, you're distributing the exponent, not just to the 3, but to the 1 here as well. So if you miss that, it's really easy to put it in, okay? I don't think I worked this out, but you would have, that's only 1, 2, so it's 2 to the first, and 9 times 1, which is my exponent. That's pretty easy. I really don't want to write 27 x's out. This is such a time saver. So why don't you pause the video, take a look at these next two. I know you've seen these. I've showed you this before, so you kind of already know how this goes. Now I scribbled over the exponent, but it is a 3. So go ahead and do those. Pause the video and check your answers. This is what I got here. 3 to the, or add the exponent of 3 to the 4 here, so you have 4 to the third. Multiply that, and multiply here. Remember, when you don't see an exponent, there's always just one of them there. And then This one, because the exponent is small enough, I can do 4 times 4 times 4. I'm actually going to do that. I'm not going to leave it in exponential form. Now, if it was 4 to the 5th or maybe 4 to the 10th, I certainly would ask you to multiply all that out. You're perfectly capable. It's just a time sucker, which is kind of why we use these exponents in the first place. Let's look at a few more examples you might see. This one has an added feature over here. It has a 6 out front. So what do you take care of first? Remember order of operations? I can't really simplify anything within my parentheses, so I better take care of my exponents first. Let's distribute that. So now I have 6 times x to the 15th and y to the 12th. Now I can deal with my multiplying, which is distributing. You know how that's going to work out. I'm sort of out of room here. Let me scoot my screen down. I'm going to end up with 6x to the 15th, 6y to the 12th. That's all we're really going to do for today. We will extend our knowledge on this, but let's just kind of work with getting familiar with how to distribute and just focusing on the power rule right now. Again, to raise a power to a power, you multiply the exponents.